Welcome back to another monthly update where I'm going to share with you all my passive income for the month in the form of interest, cashback and dividends, as well as giving an overall portfolio update of all my various investments. So let's kick things off by looking into my portfolio, starting off with my ETF holdings, which I keep partially on Interactive Brokers. Really a broker I can only recommend. I've been using the longest of all the brokers. I was really surprised. I was looking at that recently. You can look over here when you go on your dashboard and then click over here on performance, because by default it's on value. But if you click onto performance, you basically see your performance time weighted return, which basically removes the effect of contributions that you make to your portfolio. And well, over a 1 year period, I'm up 41%. I mean, I was really happy, right? Of course, recently, as you can see over here, I did take some of the funds out and relocated somewhere else. In the past, I haven't really made many new contributions into Interactive Brokers, but I'm going to do so in the future again. Just right now, I actually focused on buying on Etoro because for me, it's instant and without any fees. So it's very easy, very fast. But once my Etoro holding continues to grow, I will definitely also continue once again depositing and buying more holdings on Interactive Brokers. When you see my position over here, essentially right now, I only have one actually, SPY5. And still have some cash over here. So I should probably next week or sometime go ahead and invest that as well. Because sadly, if your cash balance on Interactive Brokers is less than 10K, I believe, sadly, you won't be getting any interest, or at least it's very marginally. So I wouldn't keep too much cash idly sitting around in Interactive Brokers. It's amazing for many other things, but in terms of interest, I think there are better platforms. And one of those platforms is actually Trading 212, where I do get still quite some nice interest on my money. You see the portfolio value over here, over a 3 months period. I'm up already nicely. I mostly have two holdings. One is the Nasdaq 100 ETF from BlackRock, and the second one, the same I buy on Interactive Brokers, just over here as well, the SPDR S&P 500 ETF from State Street, which is the cheapest one that you can possibly find. It's 0.03%. So even if you can't buy directly US listed ETFs, which many of us sadly can't, if you're not a US resident or citizen, I believe, and even if you can, often those are CFDs. So be very careful. You don't want to be buying that. Mostly you want to go for UCITS versions of that ETF. With this, we jump over to my Etoro account. And well, actually just now I realized they finally have dark mode. Oh my God, I was waiting for this for so long. So much better on the eyes. But yeah, be it as it may, you can see over here my holding. Also, whenever I bought something, I added something. So I really like it, how clean it is. Just really been enjoying the platform. And you see over here my portfolio, once again, the same two holdings, SPY5 that I bought, both on Interactive Brokers and Trading 212, as well as the Nasdaq 100 from BlackRock that I also buy on Trading 212. Unfortunately, that particular one I did not find on Interactive Brokers. That's why I don't have it there. But they have other options for the Nasdaq 100 in case you would like to. And well, so far since I started, obviously my profit has been really nice. I'm really happy with it overall, and I'll continue investing into that for time being to bring it on a similar level as Interactive Brokers. And then later on, obviously I will see, to kind of balance it across different platforms, not to have all my eggs in one single basket, or in this case, stockbroker. With this, we jump over to another stockbroker that I use, and that's called Lightyear. Obviously my holding is a little bit less over here. You can see the only one I have over here is the Vanguard S&P 500. Unfortunately, right now they don't have the SPDR5 that I buy on other stock exchanges, but that's a really popular one out there as well. You can see the expense ratio is slightly higher, 0.07%, but honestly still a very good ETF tracking the S&P 500, very popular one. You can see all those buys that I do regularly. In fact, if I go down over here, you can see the automated buys, see your recent transactions. Every single week, I'm buying more of that ETF, as easy as it gets with Lightyear. With this, we move over to my crypto holdings, starting off with Nexo, a platform I've been using and loving for many years now, so I can really recommend them. You can see obviously my portfolio balance over here, and obviously it goes up and down a little bit due to the price fluctuations of the crypto markets in recent times. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with it, how it's been developing. Bitcoin especially, obviously, I continue to kind of buy more and more whenever I see little dips in the market. And in the meantime, I do get some interest that I get on my holding. I'll come to this a little bit later when I talk about the interest I receive on my crypto. But I can see alone, savings up $2,583. The equivalent I earned already in interest since I started earning interest on my crypto holding. So definitely been worth it. I also recently upgraded to the gold level because now I get higher benefits and as well interest. So for me, it made sense. But again, depends on you. Depends how much holding in Nexo token you have out of your total portfolio. but for me it was worth to buy a bit more Nexo token, which actually has performed not too bad. When I go into my wallet over here, actually, if I click on the number, you can see also the asset allocation. And of course, majority of it is Bitcoin. And then I have a bit of USDT sitting over there, 5.21% Nexo. I topped it up a little bit recently because I feel quite confident with it. And plus the added benefits that holding those extra Nexo tokens gives me, in my eyes, was worth it. And but for the time being, I'm not planning to become a platinum member. Some people ask me, why don't you become? That would mean I would have to almost double the holding by another $3,000 worth of Nexo, I believe. And for me right now, it would just be too much. I would rather use the money to invest in Bitcoin because historically it actually outperformed Nexo token. So that's why I rather invest in an asset that grows faster. Now, obviously right now I'm earning in Nexo token the interest I get. So naturally my balance and holding of Nexo will increase. But it will obviously take some time to get, to the platinum level, but I'm fine being on gold. Then we jump over to my Ledger hardware wallet here on the Ledger Live app. You can see over here my Bitcoin holding, and once again, developed really nice, and I'm happy with the development. And as you can see, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I only have Bitcoin. Yes, some people may find that boring, and obviously I could speculate on other coins, and I have done that in the past, but I learned my lesson and I stick with what I understand. And well, there's Bitcoin, and for the time being, I'm not planning to add any other coins. Obviously, except for the little Nexo holding that I have. And of course, USDT. I'm really bullish on USDT. Maybe if it's USDC in the future due to MiCA rules, so be it. It's very easy to switch between the two. But I really like stable coins because I can really get some nice interest. And for me, it's almost like, cash, right? Because I can so quickly liquidate it, send it back to my bank account and start using it. While at the same time, it's really the oil of the crypto markets. You can send it around from exchange to exchange, hardware wallet. So I really enjoy a stable coin like USDT, and I'll definitely continue to have more and more cash, especially now that interest rates are falling. And lastly, we jump to my crypto.com portfolio, which I recently opened. I used to have it in the past and closed it, and recently opened mostly because I really like the card. However, unfortunately, I did not know that the card can only work in US dollars or euros or pounds, some of the bigger currencies. But I'm right now based in the UAE, meaning every time I pay for something locally, I would pay in dirhams, but then I would convert it to dollars, and the fees on crypto.com in general are quite high. So I would lose out on every single transaction, even though I maybe get some cash back. But in general, I would still be worse off from what I calculated. So it's really unfortunate because now I had to stake basically some of my money, you can see over here, to get that card. I had to lock up almost $500 worth of Kronos token, which is their platform native token. And so I have to wait 1 year to unstake it, and I will probably withdraw it because unfortunately the fees are just too high in general. To buy crypto on the platform, when I did my calculations, was sometimes over 2%, which is absolutely crazy. So as easy as it is and as nice as it is, and they're planning to add more features, it's one of the first crypto exchanges that is MiCA compliant. Also in Europe, they're globally available. So there's a lot to like about it, but just the fees honestly are crazy high. Of course, you can use the crypto.com exchange, which is a bit cheaper, similar to Nexo Pro. So definitely fees are way lower. But for me to get my money in there, unfortunately, I would have to send an international transfer, which I believe was in Panama or somewhere very exotic, which would cost me $25 just to send it in there. So, in the end, it just doesn't make sense for me. So I'm really not using it much right now, crypto.com, and I'm just waiting for my crypto to be unstaked, and then I will draw it and sadly not be using it, unless of course they will of course change it and have dirhams available on the card to spend, and hopefully also reduce the fees a little bit. With this, we move on to the cashback for last month. And here I really had quite an expensive month, which seems to be a recurring trend, it seems, but it is what it is. Luckily, I'm also in a position to increase my earning. So spendings are going up as well. But at the same time, there was a lot of one-off expenses, which I had at the beginning of the year. But be it as it may, 843 dirhams, which is around 221 euros or $230 in cashback for 1 month, because I'm actually getting 2% cashback on pretty much any transaction with my Wio credit card. So I really recommend it if you're living in the UAE, 2%. I do think there's a limit, which is around 2,500 dirhams. So I still have a long way to go to reach that just for using my card to get that money, which I would have spent anyway. So I'm really happy with that. In terms of dividends, sadly, there was nothing last month because obviously now I only have 2 ETFs that could potentially pay me. The Nasdaq 100 doesn't pay me a dividend. It's an accumulating ETF. Plus it's very tiny. It's like 0.3%. The dividend, so there's no point to get it distributed for me. And S&P 500 has a dividend of around 1.2, 1.3%, but that's distributing, so I will get it paid, but it's on a quarterly basis, so I believe it should be next month paid to me once again. So every 3 months I'll get the payments, and it is what it is, right? I mean, ultimately what matters is the total returns, as I always say, rather than dividends. But some people may really enjoy that monthly dividend, and there's ways and strategies around that, so that can definitely be a great investment strategy for some. But for me personally, I prefer total returns and growth growth of my money. And lastly, we come to the interest part of my passive income. And here I got a few sources, starting off with trading 212 once again, where I'm currently getting still 4.1% on my dollars. So for last month, that was $14.20. Back on Lightyear, you can see over here, I'm getting 2.93% on my euros. Obviously, it's variable, depends on how the rates are going, but on average is around that. And for last month, I got €7.25. And yes, I'm still having a Revolut account, even though I'm using it less, being based in the UAE where they don't operate, but I can still technically use it and have some cash sitting over here. You can see my euro balance where I get almost 3%. Obviously, I'm an ultra plan, so I believe the higher the plan is, the more interest you get. So in total, for last month, it was €17.83. But I also have some US dollars sitting over there, and there I'm getting 4.42%, which, as you can see, is even higher than on trading 212. And the cool thing is, as you can see, the interest is paid out on a daily basis. And that basically paid me for the last month $14.33. Going back into WIO, where I'm getting 3.75% on my dirhams. Once again, there's no lockup period, so I can withdraw at any time. If I was to lock it up, I think it will be in another 0.5% on top, but I always like to be flexible to be able to withdraw it and use it whenever and how I want. And here I got 140 dirhams for last month, which is around €36 or $38. With this, we come to the last part of my interest, and that's actually the highest part. And once again, this comes from Nexo. If I go over here, you can see basically the activity of daily interest. Right now, I'm getting around $12.60, more or less, depending on how the rates are. If I click into this over here, you can see the breakdown. And then I have also fixed term where I lock it up for a little bit longer. So you can see I have two terms on my Bitcoin where I'm getting on one term even $6.20 per day just on my Bitcoin. I think now it's on 5.5 because it's paid to me in Nexo. You can see right now I switched to Nexo. If I go back to earn in kind, meaning I would earn Bitcoin and Bitcoin, USDT and USDT, it would be 1% less for everything. So if it's normally, let's say 10% in Nexo, it would only be 9, but still pretty good. I just, as I said previously, want to increase my Nexo holding right now to make sure I really stay gold, maybe get closer to platinum, and eventually then I will switch back to earn in the respective currency, because obviously, earning in Bitcoin for me is more valuable than the Nexo token, even though the Nexo token has still appreciated quite well over time. So even if it's, let's say, 73 cents that I'm being paid right now in dollars, in the future, that 73 cents might be worth $1.20, right? So you still have appreciation potential in there. And yeah, obviously, most of the months it has been around $12, though I've recently sent a bit more and upgraded. So previously it was a little bit less. So the total for last month on Nexo came actually to $280. But now with the current setup where I'm getting over $12 per day, that's around $360 per month that I'll be getting in interest. So yeah, really not too shabby. I'm quite happy with that. So altogether for the passive income for January, without dividends, unfortunately, which I didn't get, but interest and cashback, it's actually exactly $600 or around €580. So really quite happy with this, especially knowing that the interest rates have been dropping. ECB recently just once again announced that they're dropping the interest rates, and probably the Fed and others will follow accordingly. So the fact that I'm still getting that much in interest rate, I'm really happy. Obviously, a big part from that comes from my holding on Nexo. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, means the world to me. Next up, check out this video over here. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.